Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson have said a lot of stuff about their feud over the past few years. Some of those things have been pretty spicy, so let's start off with some casual shade from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Took me a while to find that tracking chip, but not as long as to flip the receiver. You're going down, Toretto.
I'm right here.
When Johnson came back for the 6th and 7th movies in the series, everything seemed fine. But in August 2016, the Jumanji star set the fandom on fire with an Instagram post in which he called unnamed cast members candy asses. Furious movie since the first one came out in 2001. A few days later, when filming for The Fate of the Furious was done, Johnson thanked some of his co-stars by name on Instagram. This included Scott Eastwood and Natalie Emmanuel, but he did not thank Diesel.
Man, I just want to say thank you guys so much. You have officially made Hobbs and Shaw not only a massive global success, as we just crossed $750 million at the global box office.
Even though Dwayne never said who he was mad at, his co-star seemed to confirm in his own Instagram video that it was him. So the question is, when did this bad blood even start? Well, it all started with that one post. In August 2016, Johnson went on Instagram and wrote, "Some male co-stars act like real men and professionals while others don't." He also said that if anyone watching the movie saw that he wasn't really acting in some scenes and that his blood was boiling, they'd be right. Yeesh, I know what that means. In another post, Johnson stated that conflict can be good and that it can be beneficial if it led to a good solution. But we are still left to assume he could only be talking about Vin Diesel. In response to all of this, though, Vin Diesel also had some very vague comments to make.
Sorry to hear about the loss of your man. Is all of this really necessary to apprehend two men?
Let me tell you something about these two men. One's a former federal officer, been in deep cover for 5 years, knows every way you're gonna come for me. The other one's a professional criminal, escaped prison twice, spent half his life on the run avoiding folks like you.
Well, if there's anything we can do to help their DSA...
Two things. One, I need a translator.
Claro, we have that in the public
Elena
relations...
Nieves.
A patrol officer.
You heard me.
But why? We have many more experienced people.
I like her smile.
What's the second thing?
Stay the fuck out of my way. I thought so.
After filming for The Fate and the Furious ended in August 2016, Diesel posted a video about how happy he was to be home with his family after making 2 movies in a row. He also seemed to make a reference to his trouble with Johnson by saying, "If you give me a moment, I'll tell you everything. Everything." Considering these comments, it definitely felt like something was brewing, right? But then, that's exactly why it didn't make sense when Vin Diesel completely flipped the switch soon after. He started talking about how close and familial they both were. Yep, before Fate came out, said things have definitely been blown out of proportion. Apparently, Vin had complete faith that Johnson liked him and liked how hard he worked. And in Vin's books, Johnson was known as Uncle Dwayne in the family. Aw, cute. He also said that he was the franchise's punching bag and that he was taking hits for the good of everyone on the cast and crew. In other words, he said he protects the brand and looks out for everyone, including Dwayne. In fact, he said he has done more to protect Dwayne than he'll ever know. In April 2017, both stars went to the premiere of Fate of the Furious. Diesel told Entertainment Tonight that they still very much love each other. It seems like when plans were being made for Fast and the Furious 8, Vin contacted Johnson to ask him what he wanted to do. Johnson reportedly promised to always be by his side to make sure the film was the best one ever made. All of this friendly talk was short-lived though, because in 2021, Vin Diesel brought up the feud again with his tough love talk. Now, in June of that year, he told Men's Health that making the Hobbs character took tough love on his part. He said that he used a lot of tough love at the time to help get the performance where it needed to be. As a producer, he said that they had a lot to figure out when it came to Dwayne. This is because they had to change the way people looked at Dwayne Johnson. They had to change his personality to that of someone who's known for wrestling and force this cinematic world to think of his character as someone they don't know. He also said that any criticisms he might have were part of his job as a producer on the franchise. He told the magazine that there were definitely times when he was being hard on everyone because it was difficult to get to the point where they eventually got to. Dwayne, on the other hand, seemed to find these comments made by Diesel pretty funny. He didn't really say much, but he just said that after listening to Diesel's comment about tough love, all he could do was laugh. Then this Cold War between the two took on a different turn when Johnson started to throw out more backhanded comments at Vin Diesel. Johnson declared in July 2021 that he would not be returning to the series after not appearing in Fast 9 in 2021.
And potentially other stuff there, or would you appear potentially in another Fast movie in Fast 9, you think?
The plan has always been for the Fast and Furious universe to grow and expand. As of now, we're not in Fast 9 because they're getting ready to start shooting, but who knows, with Fast 10 and down the road, you never know. Because look, at the end of the day, the truth is there's unfinished business between Hobbs and John.
He told The Hollywood Reporter at the time that he genuinely wished everyone well and hoped that Fast 9 would go really well for them. But then we didn't know exactly what went down. Why did he decide to leave so suddenly? Then, just a few months later, Johnson told Vanity Fair in October that the day he shared the original Instagram post that started it all wasn't his best day. He also said that he shouldn't have made that Instagram post in the first place. This is because, in the end, that goes against his very nature. And that basically revolves around the fact that Dwayne just doesn't talk about stuff like that. He makes sure that kind of nonsense doesn't get out to the public because he thinks that's not something they need to know. Even though he felt bad about the first post, he still said he wouldn't change his message if he had his chance. In a very ambiguous statement, he said, "When I say something, I mean it." He also said that people on the Fate of the Furious crew who didn't want to be named thanked him quietly for speaking out about Diesel's behavior. And then after this, the tensions actually solidified when Dwayne started making public comments about Vin. In fact, The Rock even made remarks actively calling Vin out for manipulation. When asked about the joke about Diesel in Red Notice, Johnson just said, "The jokes never end." It seemed like a lot of people Vin Diesel jokes came from Johnson's side, but they actually didn't. But it is definitely weird that Johnson thinks these jokes about Vin are super funny. In November 2021, Diesel asked The Rock in public to play the same role he had been playing in the Fast and Furious movies. Keep in mind that they were still not getting along during this time. Johnson thought it was pretty messed up the way that Diesel had asked him to come back. He called it borderline manipulation. Dwayne said he didn't like that Diesel talked about his kids and the death of Paul Walker in the post. His goal was to always end his journey with the amazing Fast and Furious franchise as gracefully as he could. Johnson said that he was surprised by Diesel's move since he had already made it clear that he didn't want to come back to the franchise. That's all Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson have said about their feud. See you in the next one.